Hello, this is David J. Howe, Doctor Who collector and author. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
Larry, it's Fraser. And you use, they all say, who is Doctor Who? Where is he from?
What does he do? They wonder who is Doctor Who? So I ask you, who's Doctor Who?
Welcome back to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast, the podcast that explores that hardbound world of Doctor Who collecting and all kinds of Doctor Who. Welcome back to the show. Brought to you in part by Forbidden Planet and Bags Unlimited Incorporated. I'm Larry Van Mersbergen, your host. I've been a Doctor Who collector now since 1981, which makes that 44 years. So I have a lot of experience to share with you. Welcome to the 92nd episode, celebrating Doctor Who collecting and much more. Sorry we've been off the air for a while. Of course, between allergies and the day job, I'm trying to get back on a schedule. We've got some guests lined up for the next couple shows, so it's going to be a great year for Doctor Who collecting, I think, despite things that are going wrong, but I'll get more out of that in my time. Those of you who know the story can skip through this next part, but if you're new to the podcast, welcome. Thank you for listening. A little about me. I did open one of the first Doctor Who stores in Chicago that exclusively served Doctor Who fans, and we sold mostly Doctor Who merchandise. Back in early 1984, I decided to call it Bundles from Britain after reading a little article in Fantasy Empire magazine. Bundles celebrated its 40th anniversary back in 2024. We are mentioned in a wonderful book called Red, White, and Who, the story of Doctor Who in America. If you want to find our company, we get the mostly harmless treatment, if you know that reference. It's on page 384 as a list of stores that were open in the area, and I'm glad that we made that copy. You can find a link to get this great book on the front page of our website at drwhocollectors.com. It's just a link to the publisher. We don't make any money on that. We're part of the Direction Point Doctor Who Podcast Network. It's a great network full of great Doctor Who podcasts. So if you want to hear some great content, you got to go to directionpoint.org and take your pick. We've got Police Box in a Junkyard, Time Streams, Traveling the Vortex, which is in the top 10 Doctor Who podcasts out there. The Doctor Who Target Book Club. We've also got Time Ram, some great stuff, as well as some others. So please check that out. And speaking of links, of course, every episode I include these wonderful links for Doctor Who collectors. First of all, you need to go to timelash.com, and then from there, select TARDIS Library. You could create a free account, by the way, and create your wants lists. Keep track of your collection as far as books, media, but no magazines or figures or things like that. So mostly books, records, VHS tapes, Blu-rays, that kind of thing. And special thanks to keeping that free through advertising is Mr. Dan O'Malley. If you need to find something that's a little more unusual or a little more in-depth, you need Howe's Transcendental Toy Box, the book from Telos Publications that sold many copies to many collectors. I have one on my shelf. Unfortunately, books become obsolete, so a website was created at drwhotoybox.co.uk. That's, of course, run by my friend David J. Howe. Great resource. Now, if you're looking to buy Doctor Who items, and that's why you're here, first place to look is drwhostore.com. You can't miss there. It's in the name. That's owned by Alien Entertainment, and they've got everything online. So if you live in Chicago or the west suburbs, or you're passing through Chicago or the west suburbs, you can select free pickup from the store and save on that shipping cost. Or visit their stores. I know the Lombard location is open Wednesday through Saturday, but call first, because when they're doing conventions, they're usually closed. There's also a location in Logan Square. So check them out. AlienEntertainment.com for the location and store hours. DoctorWhoStore.com for the online shopping experience. You can also get some great Doctor Who items right here from Forbidden Planet, one of our sponsors. You can shop right here at DoctorWhoCollectors.com. You can just select merchandise links and find what you need there. Don't forget, we have an eBay store full of stuff. We just made a couple sales the other day, so thank you if you bought from us. Target books, hardcover books, and other things that keep the podcast on the air. Don't forget, of course, our good friends at Who North America. Find them at whona.com. That's WHONA.com. And, of course, our friends in London. That's at the Who Shop, thewhoshop.com. Keep in mind that shipping to the United States is sketchy right now. They're not sure if packages are getting through or if there are tariffs being applied. We'll talk about more of that in my time. In addition to all our podcasts on the website, of course, we have the complete guide to the Doctor Who classic hardcover books. These are the books published by Alan Wingate, W.H. Allen, Longbow, or even Aeonian, Amarian, or Muller, or White Lion. All of those considered classic hardcover books date back to the 1960s. Take a pause, starting in 74 all the way to 88. We even have some reprints on there that some folks didn't even know existed. So what's happening? What's going on here? Some breaking news. It's already out there, but I'm going to tell you here. Chicago TARDIS has just announced more guests, including, for the very first time in Chicago, Christopher Eccleston, the Ninth Doctor, will be there in his first appearance at Chicago TARDIS. Also coming along with him this year is Joe Martin, the Fugitive Doctor. Carol Ann Ford, of course, the first companion of the Doctor. And with that, we also get Jason Haig Ellery, Annette Badland, Mickey Lewis, Steph DeWally, Sean Carlson, Miles Richardson, Jacqueline King, Mickey Lewis, Susan Twist, Robert Strange, Stephen Love, and, of course, Fraser Hines. We always get Fraser. Great guy. I can't wait to see him. That convention is set for November 28th, 29th, and 30th at the Westin Hotel in Lombard. Tickets available at chicagotardis.com. You can find them on almost all social media platforms. Doctoberfest Regenerate. I've been shouting this one from the mountaintops. That's set for Saturday, October 18th at Who North America in Canby, Indiana. I am the headlining guest. I'm presenting Doctor Who toys and games from the past, present, and future. It'll be held there. Also, we got a Punch and Judy show happening. That's pretty cool if you've never seen one live. And a few different vendors will be there as well, including myself. I will have many of my things for sale as well, including one of the largest collection of Target books for sale. We buy a lot of Target books here, and it's really, we're trying to complete a library that has every printing with every price variance, every cover variance, every possible thing to help out our friends who are doing research. So there you go. If you would like me to present at your convention, I should also mention, too, that my video, 60 Items for 60 Years, is going to be at Oricon. If you're in Oregon, you can check that out. Just find them on Facebook, Oricon. You can, if you want me at your convention, you can contact me at DoctorWhoCollectorsPodcast@gmail.com and make that happen. One day I will get to Li Who. I promised Mr. Ken Deep I would try to get out there. But it's hard when it's during the year here. It's hard to get away from the job. So, so there you go. There are many rumors out there. Those classic hardcovers I mentioned earlier. A lot of rumors about second or even third printing books. There's one book that says third printing, but we're pretty sure it's a second printing, and it was a misprint. Wingate, W.H. Allen, if you have any books that we've never discussed or don't have on our website that do exist as a second edition or even a third or even a fourth, I doubt it, contact me. I would love to give you credit here, put the book out there and completely irritate all the collectors. Enlighten all the collectors out there who think they have a full run. I do not have a full run. I'm missing 4 titles, but that's okay. If you would like to share your collector story with me, please contact me. I love talking to collectors. And what what's your inspiration, what do you do, and that kind of thing. It's just a lot of fun. So you can just contact me at drwhocollectorspodcast@gmail.com. Just let me know you want to be on the show, and we'll get you on the calendar. I do have collection stories, and I have another author lined up for the next couple shows, so it should be fun. So what's happening today? On today's show, I will be doing the final installment of classic hardcovers with the year 1988, which isn't even a full year. And joining me on that show, of course, is my good friend Tony Whitt, who goes deep dive into the novels themselves. While I tell you about the printing and the cost, what the going rate is for them, and why we ended so abruptly. So there you go. I do want to thank my patrons, of course. If you want to see exclusive material, including special video content we do not share on our other platforms, you can go to our Patreon page and subscribe at any level you feel comfortable. And you can find that at patreon.com/Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. If you just want to send us a donation, easiest way to do that is you can PayPal us at drwhocollectorspodcast@gmail.com and just let us know it's a gift. That's fine. Any amount. We don't care. But we use it to pay our bills. If you want to support us on Podbean, we're a Podbean podcast. You can go to drwhocollectors.podbean.com, click Become a Patron, and there you go. Our theme song, Who's Doctor Who? Composed by Barry Mason and Les Reed, performed by our friend Fraser Hines. You can hear this podcast just about anywhere you get yours, including Apple, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Podbean, and just about anywhere you get your podcasts. We are, of course, a Direction Point Network podcast. So after a quick break here, we're going to have my time. I'll talk to you about the troubles we're having with imports, and we'll get to our main story with our friend Tony Whitt, and, of course, the most outrageous offer, which is one of the most popular segments on the show. So stay tuned.
Traveling the Vortex. Are you ready to embark on an epic journey through time and space? Join the thousands of Whovians around the world who've discovered Traveling the Vortex, the ultimate Doctor Who podcast for die-hard fans and curious newcomers alike.
Every week, we dive deep into the Whoniverse, discussing the episodes, theories, and hidden gems. We dissect the Doctor's adventures, share behind-the-scenes stories, and explore the legacy of this iconic show.
Traveling the Vortex brings fans together, fostering a global community of Whovians. Whether you're a fan of classic or new Who, there's something for everyone.
Join us on this incredible journey as we unravel the mysteries of time and space.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to Traveling the Vortex today on your favorite podcast platform.
Traveling the Vortex, your ticket to adventure awaits.
Traveling the Vortex is a proud member of the Direction Point Podcast Network. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
Hi, I'm Juliet.
And I'm Nathan.
Experience Doctor Who from the very beginning through a classic fan's eyes.
And through the eyes of a new Who fan.
Reminisce and relive those classic moments with Nathan as he offers fun insight.
Or experience them for the first time with Juliet as she dwells on social issues, history, fashion, and the size of a flashlight.
We're the Time Streams podcast.
Find us on Spotify, Stitcher, or Apple Podcasts. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
And welcome to my time. I hope everybody's had a pleasant summer. It was really great for me as well. Did some traveling, did some relaxing, of course, took in a few items here to the collection. So it's been great. It's been wonderful. And I just want to thank you all for staying with us. Our TikTok channel has grown to over 1,200 followers. And that's just only in the last 5 months. So it's just been absolutely crackers. I never expected that to happen, but people have been loving the tours. Couple things I want to share too. I did a recent TikTok episode on my Time Lord headpiece that the seller told me was a prop made by the BBC, but many of the experts out there, and I do call them experts, I hope they are, have told me that it looks more like a homemade item. So I'm like, yep, that happens sometimes. So I'm probably going to get rid of it. So I will probably sell it, and go from there. But I'm not. It takes up a lot of space for starters, and I don't really have. I can't. It doesn't even fit my head, so can't use it. But if you're interested in a gold Usher Time Lord headpiece, modeled after the ones you would have seen in the Tom Baker area, Deadly Assassin, Invasion of Time, contact me. We'll talk. On to the present situation in the United States regarding imports. As of a few days ago, the UK is reporting that the Royal Mail has suspended all packages to the United States because there's no clarity as far as tariffs. We are not a fan of tariffs in this country. The majority of Americans basically don't approve of them. I mean, trying not to get political here, but I understand more about tariffs now than I did before. So I'll tell you a quick story. Recently, I bought a collection of Target books from a good person in Canada who shipped them to me UPS, and I've been notified by UPS that I will be due a tariff. I'm like, okay. So Canada does not pay that tariff. I do. And I'm hoping I can write it off my taxes. I think I can. But that's who's paying the tariff. So if you don't believe me, you don't have to believe me. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm not trying to promote a specific ideology. I'm just saying that's what happened. I'm more than happy to put a screenshot of the message I got from UPS up if you need to see proof, but I am going to have to pay that tariff. Terrible. I am trying some experiments. I do have a MyUS account. That's at, if you just type in MyUS altogether into Google, it's a service that operates in England. You basically get a box. You get an address, a UK address. So if you wanted to buy something from the UK eBay and they won't ship it to the United States, I can have it sent there, and then they will take it and they will basically charge me actual shipping. And so you pay a little bit of double shipping, but usually in the UK it's free shipping. So I'm only paying it once. And it's significantly cheaper than eBay rates, by the way. So they take it and then they forward it to me. So far, I've had no problems. They have not charged me anything for it. And, you know, my friend David J. Howe had sent me some books because he's going to be on the show later this year with his book, Who Me? Little plug there for the book. Journey Through the Hooniverse, Who Me? How Doctor Who Changed My Life by David J. Howe. There's going to be a book and an audiobook coming out in October. So I'll be getting those soon, and hopefully they will get here without a hitch. But I'll let you know if there's any change. So basically, it's just being really tough right now. And I know that businesses like my friend Gene Smith at Alien Entertainment also having trouble because he's the North American distributor for Big Finish. And he gets a lot of product from the UK. So I'm hoping that the prices don't go through the roof on those things, or if Big Finish can even ship stuff to you. I don't know. We're not sure yet. We're kind of going easy to see what happens. And of course, there are still court cases pending regarding these tariffs, but I know how much they're affecting Doctor Who collectors. So that's just how that goes. It's sad, but that's how it is. I mean, I'm just going to tell you what's what, but you can believe what you want. I'm just telling you what happened to me. So there you go. And well, that's my time. It's my opinion, my show. I don't mind people who disagree. If you disagree with me, feel free to disagree. Just be polite about it. You know, don't write a bunch of stuff that you're going to regret later, because I'm just going to delete it. But that's okay. Anyway, this is supposed to be about a good thing. You know, we're supposed to be talking about Doctor Who, which is a show that's supposed to be about peace, love, and traveling the universe and escaping reality and going into that place where we just lose ourselves. And I've been doing it since 1975. You know, and I look to my left here, there's a picture on the wall of the cover of Day of the Daleks. It was drawn by my friend Chris Achilleos. It's signed by Chris. It was one of the last things he did before he passed away. And to Larry and the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast, smile, your friend Chris. And he signed it the usual way. So, yeah, it's important. Watch Doctor Who. Get lost in it. Sing Dugadoo a few times. Sorry, now that's in your head. And check out my TikTok channel. Just go to TikTok, type in Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. You should be able to find me. All right. Stay tuned. After the quick break here, we're going to get to the main story about the last half year of W.H. Allen cloth-bound Doctor Who books that came out in 1988. Stay tuned.
The vervoids are probably the best dirty joke in Doctor Who.
They're hermaphroditic plants.
A lot of plants are.
So there you go. It's based on science.
No, they'll ship anything.
There are probably 11 and handle shippers out there. You just have to drill a hole where his mouth is, and you're all set.
You know he needs the room. I've seen it in pictures.
I'm not saying you're not a fan. I'm saying you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Doctor Who gives a drunken Doctor Who podcast for the end times.
You are invited on an adventure across all of time and space, in a completely random order. It's the Police Box in the Junkyard podcast. Jump in the TARDIS with your hosts,
Eric Gulbranson,
Asad Kheshki,
and
Matthew Kressel.
Explore Doctor Who TV stories, audio adventures, and books, both novels and non-fiction. The Police Box in the Junkyard podcast. It's the entire Whoniverse on shuffle. The Police Box in the Junkyard podcast is a member of the Direction Point Network and is available about once a month wherever you find your podcasts. You are listening to the Doctor Who Collectors podcast. Keep collecting.
Up there is the scanner, those are the doors, that is a chair with a panda on it. Sheer poetry, dear boy.
And now it's time for the main story on the Doctor Who Collectors podcast. This is a final continuation of our coverage of the classic Doctor Who hardcovers that we have done over several episodes, over a couple of years now, covering 1974 through 1987, with the imprints of Universal Tandem, which included Ellen Wingate, Longbow, and W.H. Allen, and Virgin Publishing. We start in 1988, where the W.H. Allen is used for the last time. Virgin Publishing purchased W.H. Allen in the middle of 1987, but that purchase was not final until December. The final half year for these hardcover books. So sales continue to plummet. They cannot give these away at this point. More hardcovers were planned, as we will find out in this episode, but were scrapped. This is the end of the run. Two books did have proofs actually printed, but never published, and that would be Delta and the Bannerman and Paradise Towers, never published. So again, if you're listening to this one for the first time, brief history. In 1975, Universal Tandem was sold by UPD to the British conglomerate Howard and Wyndham, and the company was renamed Tandem Publishing Limited, right before being merged with the paperback imprints of Howard and Wyndham's general publishing house, W.H. Allen. Hopefully you're with me so far. They became Wyndham Publications. During the 77-78 year, the Wyndham identity was phased out entirely, and the Tandem imprint was phased out in 1980. All surviving titles from that backlist were reprinted under the principal paperback imprint Star Books. The Target imprint survives until 1993, although the later years were exclusively used for Doctor Who novelizations. The Allen Wingate imprint was forever retired at the end of 1977, and the W.H. Allen imprint retires in June of 1988. The Target imprint was retired, but resurrected in 2011 and owned now by the BBC Books. Of course, anytime we talk about Doctor Who novels, I was given a written order here of Captain Samuel Pike to include our resident Doctor Who novel specialist, the host and producer of the Doctor Who Target Book Club, a Direction Point Network podcast, my good friend, Tony Whitt. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Good. I'll let Captain Pike know you're here. Not to be confused with Star Trek out there, folks. This is a different Captain Samuel Pike.
No, though I do have a story about that.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if I've ever told you about this. I had a friend who took one of the Dapple he took one of the Dapple Davros figures.
Yeah.
And resculpted it and did a push of the Christopher Pike.
Oh, that might be cool, actually. That might be cool to see. I know I have one Davros staple in my collection. It's the one with both arms.
Mm-hmm.
Before they said, whoops. Let's rip those off, the remaining ones. And so somewhere there's a bin somewhere with arms in it, I guess.
Right.
Well, anyway, we come to the end of this journey here since 1974. The final publication of 6 hardcover books, the most random selection of titles, I think, ever. The signal at the end is near. People are starting to get laid off. Virgin is starting to take over the offices, stock moved, the end of Universal Tandem and W.H. Allen as we know it. Virgin Publishing will start moving in a new direction towards the middle of this year. These hardcovers are extremely sought after today, and you might have to contact Church Warden Joseph Longfoot and make him take you to the treasure to afford these books. And if you understood that reference, you've read the book. Congratulations. These can be found in a couple of ways, although in 1988, you're less likely to see ex-library editions, but it has been known to happen. That's, by the way, ex-library is pulled or stolen from a local library, public library, college library, or somebody with a stamp in the book, basically. Most common, especially for this year, is a non-library copy, which is either a retail store version, a publisher copy, or a copy that has not been through the hands of a library, basically. At this time, no W.H. Allen titles were sent to the U.S. as they were pulled from distribution. However, copies of The Smugglers were imported to several U.S. bookstores. We're not sure how the sales were. So as we talk about 1988, Tony, do you have any special memories of that year for you?
Well, that was the year I graduated high school, so
congratulations.
Yeah, I have quite a few imprinted memories. Not necessarily good ones, but not anything Doctor Who related specifically that I can think of, except for discovering that there was a huge amount of Doctor Who novelizations at the Little Professor bookstore in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you lived in Ann Arbor at the time?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. We just happened to visit Ann Arbor with friends, and I think that's where I got my copy of Ultimate Foe. Oh. So that tracks, I seem to recall. No, it was Terror of the Vervoids.
Oh, Terror of the Vervoids. Okay.
I remember specifically now. Yep.
It's hard to forget that cover, I know.
It really is. Somehow I forgot it. But
well, 88, I'll jump the gun a little bit, but 88 was the year we dissolved the partnership at Bundles from Britain. I sold my shares to Mr. Gene Smith, and he took that into another direction. I was getting ready to go off to college, so that was that year for that. As far as what happened in Doctor Who in 1988, listeners, so here's what happened. In February, Lionheart announced that Doctor Who had been sold to 206 markets across the United States, and by the start of 88, more PBS stations have dropped the series. Lionheart tries a tactic of forcing stations that want the new Sylvester McCoy stories to buy the full runs of older stories. Some stations don't buy it, and they buy another. Basically, a lot of them just started disappearing. The Lionheart promotional sales video was updated to include clips from Time on the Ronnie. Lionheart launches the Friends of Doctor Who, the first and only official U.S. Doctor Who fan club, which I find funny because we had hundreds of Doctor Who fan clubs in this country, but none of them are considered official. The BBC announces that sales to America had helped generate £27,500,000, an increase of 14% over the previous 2 years. In November of 1988, The Making of Doctor Who screens on the New Jersey Network with Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred attending a screening. So there we go. And so we go to the books. In 1988, all Doctor Who hardcovers here will be W.H. Allen for the final time. This year printed with laminated covers. Like I said, all but one book was not available in the United States. So let's get started. On January 21st, 1988, we get Doctor Who Vengeance on Varos by Philip Martin. The Red Sutton logo with a light blue spine. Cover by David McAllister. 3,000 copies printed. The price on there printed was £7.95, which today would be £28 or $38 US. The Lyle Stewart price tag on the back says 14, and I've explained it in other podcasts. Well, why didn't it get sold here? Well, Lyle Stewart quit importing books in 1986, but the price tags were applied at the W.H. Allen warehouse, so they just left them on there. All of these books were imported. The Target book, the book was scheduled for January 86, and the Target book was given number 106 in the Target library. This number was never changed, so it became published between 126 and 127. So that's 126, 106, 127, if you're keeping track of those numbers. This number system was a colossal failure. And this book is not very hard to find. Worth about $125 in new condition. You can pay that price right now at DoctorWhoStore.com. So what was the rating on Vengeance on Varos?
That was episode 156, and Allison gave it a 2.5, which is one of her higher scores. She said, I don't like it, but I will remember it. And she has indeed remembered it since then. Dalton and I both gave it a 3 because we didn't think it was the best book, but definitely it was a good book. And for me, it was an improvement on the televised version, filling in a lot of the spaces that the televised story didn't give us.
I agree. Yeah, I remember the televised story. That's the one with Jason Connery?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And Martin Jarvis.
Yeah, some good casting in that story. But yeah, I do remember that. I don't remember when I read this book, but it's been a long time. But like I said, it got the hardcover treatment right off the bat. So we move on to February 18th, 1988. We get Doctor Who: The Underwater Menace by Nigel Robinson. This time we get the Elms or McCoy logo and the cover by Alistair Pearson. Now, issue 127 of Doctor Who magazine says the book was planned for 1988, but was brought forward when Attack of the Cybermen was delayed, and again be denied a hardcover edition. So, we'll go to the magazine 127. I happen to have one in the archive, and this is going to be very interesting reading because they give this little thing here. Finally, this month, a little list of what's to come in hardback over the next few months. November 19th, Mysterious Planet, which came out last year. Strange Matter by Pip and Jane Baker. That must have been the original title for Time and the Ronnie, or a bad press release. Vengeance on Varos in January, which we got. February, Wheel in Space. March, Attack of the Cybermen. That never happened. Let's see, the April, The Underwater Menace, The Ultimate Foe, the Smugglers. There will also be The War Machines, The Edge of Destruction, and Mind Warp. Now, War Machines did not get a hardcover treatment, neither did Mind Warp. Edge of Destruction did. So it's interesting how this happened here. The paperback from Target out this month is The Censorites. That was it. That was Gary Russell's article. So that was back in August of 1987. So they obviously had plans to go forward before Virgin decided, no, we're not going to do that. So it's great that somebody went through all the Doctor Who magazines and found those little snippets. That's really something. So back to this. This is, by the way, the very first cover that Alistair Pearson did and would go on to do many covers for the Blue Spine books and many other projects. This book is not very hard to find. Sales were not very good. Now you can find it for $225 at DoctorWhoStore.com. They have at least one in stock. So this goes way back for you, Tony. So what was the rating on this book?
That was episode 31. I gave it the highest score. I gave it a 3, but I did say that it was not Nigel Robinson's best work. And I think he'd probably agree with me on that one because he wasn't. I seem to recall something in the interview with him in which he said that he wasn't quite happy about having to do that book, whereas The Rescue is definitely a better book of his. Rory Jobst was our guest on that one and gave it a 2.5, and then Allison gave this one a 1. She really did not like it.
Yeah, I can see that. I've never read the book, but I did watch the animated recreation with the existing episodes. It's an okay story. Mm-hmm. It's not my favorite Troughton, no. But I get it. But again, we're going Vengeance on Varos to Underwater Menace, and we're going to stay with the Second Doctor for one more, his final book in hardcover. And that's in March 17. We get Doctor Who and the Wheel in Space by Terrence Dix. Back to the Sutton logo, which tells you the planning was a little out of kilter. And this was the last time you'll see this logo on the book. So there you go. The cover is by Ian Burgess, and 3,000 copies were printed. Now, the paperback and hardcover had a rumor that a fire broke out in a warehouse, making these books extremely rare. It was verified to me by Mr. David J. Howe, who worked for Virgin at the time, saying, no, there was no fire. And the paperbacks and hardcovers were done in 2 different places. So that meant that these were done in one press, those were done in another. All 38,000 copies of the paperback survived. But we can't explain why the current going price of the paperback is $78. I don't get it. I can't get it for less than 30 at kind of a good rate, but 78 is the current going rate. The hardcover, not so bad actually. The 23,000 for the paperback, 3,000 for this. The price remains high due to those rumors. Nobody seems to want to let those go. So the last sold price on this book was $375. So ex-library copies have been seen of this, and so here you go. DoctorWhoStore.com has this book for $375. So, again, back to the Troughton era, a little fast forward for this one. So what did you guys think of The Wheel in Space?
That would have been episode 42, which was our second time doing it live at Chicago TARDIS.
Oh, right.
Yep, Trey Corte was on for that one. He gave it a 3. I gave it a 2.5, and Allison was still rating fairly low then, and gave it a 1.5.
Okay. If you can find a copy, this is a new copy. I bought this years ago, and I did not pay $375 for it. So, oh my goodness. Okay, so now we jump completely to the future here. April 21, 1988, we have Doctor Who, The Ultimate Foe by Robert Holmes and Pip and Jane Baker. The Elms logo is back to stay. 3,000 copies printed, cover by Alistair Pearson. Trial of a Time Lord appears in the corner of both the paperback and hardcover editions. Sadly, only 3 of the 4 stories from that Trial of a Time Lord were done in hardcover, as Mind Warp was never done. Apparently planned, according to Doctor Who magazine, but never happened. This book also does not have the Time Lord symbol on the back that the other 2 do. We don't know why. The spine matches the Trial of the Time Lord exactly the same way on all the books. The initial artwork had the Valeyard and the Inquisitor on the front cover, but neither actor gave permission for their images to be used. The only person that did give permission was Geoffrey Hughes, who played Mr. Pupplewick. So you get Mr. Pupplewick. I'm sure he was very happy with the deal. This book can be found in new condition for about $125, and that is the current price at DoctorWhoStore.com. This one is not that far back for you. I remember listening to this one, but what did you guys think of The Ultimate Foe?
Yeah, that was episode 172, and we did do it very recently. And it was worth remarking that it is the only book from Trial of the Time Lord that is in hardcover. So if you're trying to get a hardcover set of Trial of the Time Lord, you are out of luck.
Nope.
I gave it a 2.5. So did Dalton. Dalton and I don't like Pip and Jane Baker books. And so he said that this one was not as off-putting as past Pip and Jane Baker books. So that's your pull quote from Dalton for that one.
Okay.
And Allison actually gave it the high score. She gave it a 3. And what she said about it was, it's like a Lego set that looks like it has really cool individual pieces, but you don't have a photo of the end product, and then you lose several of the pieces.
Okay.
Which is an interesting metaphor, but
yeah.
It does happen to go with that book quite well.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, again, you cannot get all 4 stories in hardcover because Mind Warp is not published there. That's just it. And of course, we're running out of books at this point. Okay, on May 19th, 1988, we get, going backwards again, the final Hedge of Destruction by Nigel Robinson, 3,000 copies. Alistair Pearson did the cover. It has the McCoy Elms logo. And it says U.S. distribution is printed on the back of this one, but no evidence it actually was, because Lyle Stewart stopped importing hardcovers in 1986. Issue 127 of DWM basically said the book was planned for the last half of 88, but was moved up. Excuse me, did I do the same thing again? No, I didn't. That's right. No, it's true. No, this is right. There are so if this had happened, again, with Attack of the Cybermen, didn't happen. Pearson's cover was actually on a postcard that was included with Doctor Who magazine number 213, which I checked, and I do not have one of those in my archive. This book can be very difficult to find. Ex-library copies have been seen for $115. New copies, you can spend a little bit more here, $145, and you can get it at DoctorWhoStore.com right now. So there you go. And this is a really old one for you, Tony.
Yes, it is. And I think I misspoke earlier and said that The Rescue was Nigel Robinson's best work. Obviously, he didn't write The Rescue. He wrote this one. This is the one.
Oh, yeah. The Rescue was by Ian Marter, right?
Ian Marter. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just sticks to my mind because it's actually a very good book. This one is 2. This was episode 3 of our podcast. I gave it a 4, which probably I'd stick by these days. Jenny Ingersoll was on for that episode. She gave it a 2. That was her first episode, and it was also Dalton's first book. And he gave it a 3.75.
Nice. And I will point out to the viewers, listeners, that there is no Lyle Stewart sticker on this book and no evidence that there ever was one. So this one, definitely, if it was intended for distribution, they only printed it on the back, but they did not put a sticker on there. So there you go. All right, the final hardcover. I'm not going to sing the song. Lastly, the final hardcover published by W.H. Allen and forever closing that section of this life is The Smugglers, published on June 16th, 1988, with only 1,000 copies printed. Book by Terrence Dix with a cover by Alistair Pearson. This book was supposed to come out the same day as the paperback, but it was 5 months early, so the paperback won't be around till the end of the year. If it had been pushed back, this would never have been published in hardcover. So the cover was released as a postcard, included in the for free in the issue of 204 Doctor Who magazine, which I do have, and I did open it up, and there it is, the Smugglers cover as a postcard, along with Underwater Menace down there. I think, what else does he include in here? There's like 4 of them. Looks like Remembrance of the Daleks and Warriors of the Deep. So, very nice. This was during the 30th anniversary, so you could get the 30th anniversary official jacket, which is probably now on eBay for $500. I don't know. It's always interesting to look back at these old magazines and see what was going on. But anyway, the inspiration for the photo was actually taken from the Web Planet. This book has no contents page. This book had a small distribution in the United States by some independent bookstores who imported it directly from Virgin Publishing. Non-library copies of this book are selling for $750, making it one of the most rare books to get. And you can get one right now at DoctorWhoStore.com for $750. I think he has one left. Ex-library copies have been seen going for $300 and $400 each because of the low distribution, low printing, and the final hardcover, which happened to be a Hartnell story. So this is another old one for you. So what did the group think of the final hardcover?
Well, if you're buying it for the story, please don't spend that much for it. This was episode 27, and we didn't really care much for it. I gave it a 2. I said it had some nice Dixian touches, but not that many. Okay. Allison gave it a 1, and this was an earned 1 from her because she said that it was a non-event. And even Dalton gave it a 1.5. He said, this book did nothing for me. It was bland, which is unusually harsh for Dalton. So that tells you something.
Of course. Yeah, it's a shame because it's a missing episode, completely missing. And it would have been nice if the book stepped up.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's the final hardcover. So the entire run comes to an end in the middle of June. So if you can imagine, offices closing, layoff notices go out, and all the future plans for further hardcover editions, which were released to the press, and proofs were made for 2 more books, they closed it down, and Virgin Publishing never did another novel in hardcover form during their license period. So, of course, that concludes our coverage of the classic hardcovers. A short year, but Virgin Publishing saw diminishing sales and high costs with these hardcovers. W.H. Allen liquidated most of its assets before the final turnover. Not sure what happened to the excess stock of Doctor Who hardcovers, so these books from 1974 to 1988 total 153 books, including the second printings. So there are some collectors that only collect mint copies of these, and I doubt that's even possible these days. I do not own all the books. I'm actually missing 4 titles. So not bad for coming along. I may not get the whole thing. That's okay. My company, Buttles from Britain, had exclusive sales of these books in 1985, and now we know that Time Lord Incorporated had sales of these books going back to 1981. And I do have all the 88 books in non-library condition. So if you want to own a set of these books, we actually took the costs of what they cost at DoctorWhoStore.com, and it comes out to $1,745 for those 6 books. That is more money than last year with 12 books, just so you know. So my advice, as always, with collectors is negotiate with your seller if you can. If you can make an offer, if it's eBay, you might be able to make a better offer if no one's buying it. Beware of high-priced buy-it-now auctions. Be careful out there. And even, Smugglers at $7.50, I would say you might look around and find something lower. You can find some titles at Abe's Used Books, Books A Million, or half-price books occasionally. You might even get lucky on eBay, but be prepared. Watch the Facebook groups. There are respected sellers out there like Dale Santos, Jonathan Ruffle, Luke Ashby, Nigel Robinson, and... Did I just say Nigel Robinson? No.
You did.
I did. He's not selling books. David Russell. I'm thinking of somebody else, but not Nigel Robinson. Anyway, my special thanks, of course, to Tony Whitt, host and producer of the Doctor Who Target Book Club podcast, available on SoundCloud and many providers, including the Direction Point Network. So what's coming up next? I know right now, currently out is the Happiness Patrol. So where are you going next?
Right. We are currently doing editing on Silver Nemesis, which is going to be out. Let's see. This is, we're recording this on July 14th.
Yes.
So that means that one is going to be coming out. I want to give you the right information on July 27th, if I really hurry.
Okay. I know how editing goes, so yeah.
Yes. But we had some interesting things to say about that.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that one. It's one of my favorite shows to listen to, listeners. So if you're listening to me, you need to listen to Tony. So as we conclude the hardcover series, this is not the last time you'll see Tony on my show. I'm sure we'll find something else to do.
We usually do.
We usually do. Or you might find me hanging around the Target Book Club once in a while. So you never know. But don't worry, this is not the final collaboration, as I know many people have written in and saying, wow, they love these stories about the book, the background, and the stories. So thank you so much for your input on that. And we really do, both of us, appreciate your kind words and the fact that you're downloading this and all over the place. That's wonderful stuff. So I'm certain there'll be more things happening. So if you can, please follow us on Instagram at Doctor Who Collectors to see the full cover art of the books we talked about. And you can follow us on TikTok to see a complete tour of the Who collecting room, plus the stuff that lives outside the Who room. And don't forget, set your calendars for Saturday, October 18th. Oktoberfest Regenerate is at Who North America in Canby, Indiana. I will be presenting Doctor Who toys and games from 64 to the present. As of right now, I'm the only guest on the schedule, so stay tuned. Remember, we had Sophie Aldred one year, so you never know who's going to pop by. Again, we're also on Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads, Twitter, X, and Podbean. If you have any photos or proof of life of books that we did not talk about, Email those photos to DoctorWhoCollectorsPodcast@gmail.com with hardcover photos in the subject line so I don't ignore it. So once again, thank you, my friend, for being here for this shorter episode than usual because there were only 6 books.
Yep, thank you for having me again.
You're welcome. And my listeners, please stay tuned for the most outrageous offer.
We are going on a journey, a very long journey, through the world of the Target novelizations in publication order. Every week, we are looking at a new book, talking about Terrence Dicks, Malcolm Hulk, and all our Doctor Who novelization friends. Whatever you do, keep turning the pages. This is Jason Miller of the Doctor Who Literature Podcast, a member of the Direction Point Podcast Network, and you are listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
Hello, fellow time travelers, and welcome to the Doctor Who Target Book Club podcast, the only podcast to discuss, in story order, all the Doctor Who novelizations. My name is Tony Whitt, and every 2 weeks or so, I'm joined by a 2 to 3 person discussion panel, including our so-called expert who's been a Who fan since 1979. That would be me. We also get the views of intermediate, casual, and novice fans who either have never seen the show or who have never read these books until these podcasts, including
Dalton Hughes
and
Allison Fitz-Seyfried.
You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you find good podcasts, or even ones like ours. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast on the Direction Point Podcast Network. Keep collecting.
All my travellings throughout the universe, I have battled against evil, against power-mad conspirators. I should have stayed here. The oldest civilization. Decadent, degenerate, and rotten to the core. Power-mad conspirators, Daleks, Sontarans, Cybermen. They're still in the nursery compared to us. 10 million years of absolute power. That's what it takes to be really corrupt.
And now it's time for the most outrageous offer. The most outrageous offer is a Doctor Who item or Doctor Who related item that is priced way beyond what is considered normal. I consider this absolutely ludicrous sometimes, and this one is no exception. So today we have a Big Finish item that was produced in 2020. It was a great story, as a matter of fact. It's called Doctor Who Out of Time 1 with David Tennant and Tom Baker. The CD and the download, of course, I have the CD and the download. I bought those when they came out. But I've got a seller here. From Goring by Sea, United Kingdom, World of Books. They've been on here before. They're a common one. They're selling the CD that is in, very good condition. Actually, their whole thing, the book has been read, but in excellent condition. It's a CD. And it says paperback, but it's a CD. It's an audio drama. So they're asking a used price here of $2,857.24. If I look back at the pound sterling here, so let's see what it looks like. 2,047 pounds and 66 cents. 66, not cents. 66 pence, I guess. Yeah. No. $2,800. Okay, so there are other items listed. This was on Abe's Used Books, abesbooks.com. There are 2 other items listed for $214.97 and $251.81. I found several copies on eBay for $37 or less. And Big Finish still has the download, I believe. That's easy to find here. While I'm talking to you, so it really bothers me when collectors do that. So out of time, the complete Out of Time is still out there with the series for $24. It is still actually it's available as a download for $12.16 directly from Big Finish. I think the CD is out of print, but that, they only sold so many of those. So I don't think you need to spend $2,857 and less than a quarter. Crazy. All right, folks. It's time to stop being greedy to my sellers out there. If you're not a Doctor Who fan, you're selling a Doctor Who item, contact me. I'll help you out. I don't want to, I want you to make money, but I also want you to sell it. I've got sales out there that are rolling over every week. There's one guy that's still trying to sell his autographed copy of Deadly Assassin hardcover for $300, and it hasn't moved at all in 6 months. That happens. If you're just, I guess if you're patient, somebody will buy it, or maybe not. That's how it goes. But somebody will tell me it's the market. Well, yeah, but if the market's manipulated by sellers who go too crazy, then they do. I believe the experts. If you want an expert to tell you what something's worth, and by the way, my friend Gene Smith over at Alien Entertainment, he's asked me, what is this worth? He's been doing this a long time. I started out with him back in the 80s, 40 plus years of experience. I can tell you it's not worth what they're asking for. So I will put those links and screenshots on the website because a lot of times they disappear after I'm done talking. So that's the most outrageous offer. If you find an item out there that just seems a bit too high for your liking, send us the link or where it's at, and we'll check it out. We'll do our due diligence. And if it turns out to be outrageous, put it on the show. If you want to be thanked, let us know. This one was anonymous, was sent to our email. Please don't mention our name, but here it is. And so this is it. The link took me here. And there you go. Anyhow, thank you for listening to the most outrageous offer. And we'll wrap it up for this episode of the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. I want to thank my friend Tony Whitt for being on the show today in finalizing that episode on classic hardcovers. And don't worry, we'll do something more with Tony in the future. And thank you for listening. Coming up on our next couple shows, we've got collection stories, we've got authors, we've hopefully got a Doctor Who celebrity lined up again, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks for listening. Keep collecting.
A Doctor Who Podcast Network.